What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Pick Six Podcast, CBS NFL daily podcast, semi-daily podcast. Maybe we'll get back to daily when the season continues here with Will Brinson and John Breech. Breechapalooza, as it says on your name. I actually like that nickname a lot. Today is our Pick a Pair show, where we will choose two teams out of three that are given to us that we think will make the playoffs this year. We'll also get into some of those will they make the playoff odds. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe on the YouTube page. For everyone who's listening to audio only, download, follow, subscribe, do it all, leave a 5-star review, and tell your friends to listen and watch the pod. Fellas, you're both looking sharp today. I did not get the gray memo or the gel memo, but we're looking good.
I would say that this is more of a navy. What is up with my colors? Like, you guys told me that my...
Yes, that is not navy. That is gray. Breech?
Well, I was just going to say real quick that every day is a gel day for Brinson and I. Somehow it always happens. And then also, like there's Taco Tuesday. Today is Thursday gray. So like you wear gray on Thursdays, Thursday.
You don't want to see what my hair would look like right now without any product in it. I'll tell you that much. It would not fit in this screen height wise.
Katie's using the smallest amount of product of anyone on this podcast. Is that embarrassing for me and Brinson, or is that just say a lot about Katie?
It's embarrassing for Katie.
Yeah.
Fine, it's embarrassing for me, I suppose. All right, fellas. Well, let's get right into this. So there are three teams that Billy has picked out for us, and we will have to say which two are going to make the playoffs. You got the Indianapolis Colts, the Houston Texans, and the Carolina Panthers. Who are you choosing, Brinson?
Well, my freshly printed article, which teams will make the NFL playoffs, which new teams will make the NFL playoffs, teams that didn't make it last year, is up on CBSSports.com right now. Went up like 2 hours ago, maybe. And what I think is interesting to note is that, for years we've said 5 teams in, 5 teams out. That's sort of the number that happens, right? Well, we're in a short sample size period right now because of the 2 years that we have with the expanded playoffs, and 2021 was coming out of COVID. So you had a very weird, like I know people like the teams that made the playoffs in COVID were, it's like Washington and the Browns. And it was just like it was a weird year. And then the following year we expanded the playoffs and we got 7 new teams. And then last year we also got 7 new teams. Now, I would guess that it'll probably end up sinking back down towards maybe 6 over the course of the long haul. But I think we're in this spot where, it's not a reason. Like, I did the list and I came up with 7 easy, and I didn't list the Colts or the I had 2 of these teams, so I'll just go with those 2. That's what I was getting at.
Okay. So it's, I think Texans and Colts, Panthers.
Yeah, I mean, so here's my argument for these 3 teams and why I'm picking the 2 that I'm picking. I do think Indianapolis could be a sleeper playoff team. If Anthony Richardson, if Shane Steichen fashions an Eagles-like offense with Anthony Richardson, and they come out of the gates and he is much more polished than people expect. And we've seen flashes of, if you watch his tape, you can see he can move around the pocket really well. He's obviously got insane athletic upside. It's just the accuracy with the throws that people are worried about. Sometimes we see it where the guy's college production doesn't end up matching. Like Justin Herbert's a great example. And he wasn't like that wildly inaccurate, but like he got in the pros, it was just like, oh my God, that's a different guy. It was his college offense holding him back. I'm not saying that's the case with Richardson, just it's worth thinking about. Could the Colts make the playoffs? Yeah. I would rather gamble on the Panthers, who I think are a really good bet to make the playoffs personally. Carolina is perceived, when we start doing this, as a team that had the first overall pick, because that's where they took Bryce Young, but they had the 9th overall pick. I mean, this is a team that's closer to the middle of the pack than they are the bottom of the barrel. And you're in the NFC South, a division where Tom Brady's no longer there, and the Saints, I don't think, are as scary as people make him out to be. You're plus 175 to make the playoffs, and the NFC as a whole is very watered down. I love the Panthers at plus 175 to make it, and I've been beating the Texans. I've been driving the Texans bandwagon all offseason. I'm not going to stop doing it now. I don't love C.J. Stroud as a prospect personally, but I do love Bobby Slowick as the offensive coordinator. I think their offensive line is very good. Damian Pierce and Devin Singletary give them a nice 1-2 punch at running back. The receiving group has a nice floor. With Robert Woods gonna be great, a great blocker, a nice steady veteran presence for Stroud. You have Dalton Schultz, who I don't think is getting enough attention as an ad there. And then a couple with Will Anderson and a bunch of the veteran players they added this offseason on the defense, plus D'Amico Ryans coaching it up, and 650 to make the playoffs.
Hell yeah.
Count me in on it. When they're 9.5 to 1 to win the division, you get 650 to make the playoffs. You get the wild cards built in. I think I'd go playoffs.
Brinson, so you went through all three of those teams. I'm still slightly confused. So which two are you picking out of those three?
The Texans and the Panthers.
Okay, because it sounded like you made a case for all three and you wanted to pick all three, but you're only allowed to pick two.
I was making a case for the Colts. Like, I think any one of the 4 teams, the AFC South is once again very interesting, Breech, because any one of those 4 teams could win that division and steal a playoff spot. I don't think we'll get 2 though.
True, absolutely. And to Brinson's point a little bit here, the exact stat is that the NFL has had at least 4 new playoff teams every year since 1990. So we're up to 33 straight seasons. So it's pretty much a lock. And as Brinson brought up, it's been a little crazier since we expanded to 14 playoff berths, because now you've had 7 new teams in each of the past 2 seasons, although one of those is shouldn't count, because when you expanded it, you're automatically going to get at least 2 new playoff teams because you went from 12 to 14. So that year kind of skews the statistic. But either way, it does feel like that number will shoot up to 5 or 6, as Brinson was saying. And it really does. Look, I'm all in. I love the Panthers. I think we talked about who we thought was going to win each division on Monday. I was really high in the Panthers then. I think they're at worst the second best team in that division. I have them behind the Saints right now. And if Bryce Young just plays slightly above average football, I think they can be really good. And look, a team got into the playoffs out of the NFC South at 8-9 last season. So you might be able to win 9 games. 10 games probably wins this division. So you don't have to be great. I think the Panthers can pull it off. So for me, the tough one here is, do I take the Colts or the Texans? And as Brinson said here, anyone can win this. And I feel like those 2 teams are the rosters are closer than I think most people think. And so if I'm 50-50 or 52-48 or 51-49, I'm probably slightly leaning Colts, but the value is so much more with Houston that's where I would sprinkle my money. So I would take the Texans and Panthers out of this group.
But I'm just curious, Breech, I'm just wondering, Breech, are you like, do you think that by getting on the Panthers bandwagon, you're going to like this is a game of chicken where you're going to talk me out of picking the Bengals to win the Super Bowl? Because I don't care if you're on the Panthers bandwagon, just so you know.
Panthers, Bengals, all cat Super Bowl, Brinson. It's a dream come true for me.
And me. Oh my God. Panthers, Bengals would be incredible.
Super Bowl. If it's an all-cat Super Bowl, will you wear a cat print on the show?
I will wear the fur.
If the Panthers and the Bengals, I'll tell you what, I will guarantee. I'll make this bet for Breech right now.
For me,
yeah, Breech and I. So if the Panthers and the Bengals play in the Super Bowl, and obviously CBS is going to have to at that point let me and Breech go to the Super Bowl, not just. No, Breech and I will wear
the actual game.
The actual game to cover the game for CBS Sports. Breech and I will wear matching cat print Dumb and Dumber tuxedos.
Yes. How about full cat costumes? Like we could
I just think we could be, but we would be walking around the stadium in where's Super Bowl?
Vegas. Vegas,
baby.
Dude.
It's in Vegas. So it's awkward because there multiple people in cat suits.
Dude. We should. I want the Panthers and the Bengals to make it out. What I'm talking about, the blue and the orange when the Dumb and Dumber guys go to the gala,
right?
The owl gala. I will get a blue Panthers print tuxedo, and Breech will get an orange Bengals leopard or Bengal print tuxedo, tiger print tuxedo, and we will wear those to the game, or we'll wear those all week during the CBS the Pick Six podcast show on CBS Sports HQ, assuming they don't cancel us.
Okay, well, I love this bet. Everyone here has heard it. Also, Clarence E. said, if Houston makes the playoffs, then the entire Pick Six crew gets a tattoo. I don't like that because I don't have any tattoos.
I don't have any tattoos either. And I'm saying that I think they will make the playoffs. I'm not going to get punished with a tat because they did.
I think we have quashed all future tattoo bets. Wilson gets to forever be remembered as the guy who made a bet against himself and then had to get a tattoo for it, and now has Snoopy to prove that for the rest of his life.
I don't think Katie knows that's why yet. Do you?
We have the whole offseason. We'll tell her the story at some point. What happened.
He lost a Bengals
Every
bet
time
and
you
ended
guys
up getting
bring it
a
up, you
Snoopy
tell me,
tattoo.
you'll tell me later.
Yeah, there's a whole
What'd you
podcast
say?
about it. He lost a bet. He lost a bet, a Bengals Steelers game. He said there's no chance the Steelers would lose to Ryan Finley on that Monday night game. They did, and he got a tattoo.
And it had to be Snoopy, or he chose Snoopy?
He chose Snoopy. Joe Cool, Joe Burrow, Snoopy. We'll get into the minutia later.
Okay, because I'm not understanding that. All right, we are going to take a quick break here, but before we do, have you heard of the morning buzz? Missed some of the action while you were sleeping? Your sports day starts here. Highlights from all of the top games and leagues. Catch up on storylines and social buzz. Jump in, jump out. Morning Buzz runs all morning, starting at 9 a.m. Get it all for free on the CBS Sports app. This is Pick Six Podcast. We'll be right back.
Get breaking news.
Big news coming out of the NFL today.
Highlights and instant reactions.
The largest final round comeback in Ford championship history. We're down to the final four.
I just want to take time to analyze greatness.
Talk winners and losers with a guy who's already a big winner.
CBS Sports HQ. It's all sports all day long.
Welcome back to the Pick Six Podcast here with Brinson and Breech, and it's the Pick a Pair show. Which new playoff team or new team will make the playoff this year? We did 3 of them. Let's get into our next grouping. The Atlanta Falcons, the Chicago Bears, or the New York Jets. Come on, the Jets are making the playoffs, Brinson.
All right, so let's listen to those that list again while Breech. You said the Bears. Breech died. That's sad. The Bears, the Jets, and who?
The Breech bot died. All right. Atlanta Falcons, Chicago Bears, New York Jets.
The Breech thing threw me for a loop there, obviously. Okay. I will say that this one's easy for me. I'm all in on the Atlanta Falcons this year, plus 165 to make the playoffs. I think it's a pretty good number. You know, the Saints, to me, the situation with the Saints and their success last year, winning the division with Sean Payton the last time he was there, or when they haven't been very good since Drew Brees and Sean Payton left. Is what I'm trying to get at here, Katie. And people are just giving the Saints this division. The Buccaneers 8-9 last year with Tom Brady now have Baker Mayfield behind a questionable offensive line. This is just poised for the Atlanta Falcons and the Carolina Panthers to jump up and possibly both make the playoffs. I like these odds at plus 170 you saw for Carolina, plus 165 for Atlanta. Do they have a quarterback? No, they don't have a quarterback that we believe is going to take them over the top and make them this high-flying passing attack and offense. But in Desmond Ridder and then in Taylor Heineke as a backup, they have 2 guys who are going to run the system that Arthur Smith wants to run and are going to operate in a manner like Tennessee light, the Titans light, when they had Derrick Henry and they had Ryan Tannehill, and they were a run the ball and play defense team. Now, is Bijan Robinson Derrick Henry? No. Do I have an affinity for Bijan Robinson? I do. That aside, this offensive line, they signed Caleb McGarry and Chris Lindstrom to extensions this offseason. They beefed it up. They brought in the gentleman from I'm drawing a blank on his name. He's from Syracuse. Is it Bergeron? That is the running guard Matthew Bergeron, excuse me. He comes in. So you've got this offensive line that's very stout. You've got a great running back in Bijan Robinson, and you have a defense, I think, that is going to be a little bit better than people give it credit for. David Onyemata, Calais Campbell added, Grady Jarrett back, Bud Dupree added, Jesse Bates added. I mean, look, you pick up Mike Hughes and Jeff Okudah as well to sort of solidify that spot aside from AJ Terrell, excuse me. This is a defense that if Ryan Nielsen is a good as defensive coordinator, I think the Falcons can be a pretty good defense. I think the running game can be pretty good. I don't think they're going to blow people away or dominate a bunch of games, but I think they're going to be like a poor man's version of the Titans that won big in Tennessee, and they're doing it in a division that's just not very good, in a conference that's not very good. I love the Falcons in this spot, and then the Jets have Aaron Rodgers. That seems self-explanatory. I'll take them over the Bears.
I only heard half of what you said, Brinson, but I heard Falcons and Jets. That's all that matters, right? Obviously, the Jets are an obvious answer, I think, for both of us here with Aaron Rodgers. Of these three teams, you're going to pick them to make the playoffs, whether it's wild card or people are crazy enough to think they're going to win the division. It does feel like they definitely have a good enough roster to get to the play. I mean, they went 7-10 last season with Zach Wilson as their quarterback. I think Aaron Rodgers can get them to at least 10 wins. So I love the Jets here. So really, it's who do you like better out of the Falcons and the Bears? I know you went the Falcons, Brinson. I'm going with the Bears. I think my problem with Atlanta is stacked. Look, their roster, their skill players are good. They made a lot of good moves on defense. You mentioned a lot of them there. But I don't know how I feel about Desmond Ridder. I just don't trust him. And if I have to trust a young quarterback, I'm going to go with Justin Fields over Desmond Ridder. I feel like the Bears beefed up their roster. You talked about how the NFC South is pretty wide open. I feel the same way about the NFC North. It's a division that anyone can win. There's no reason to count the Bears out. And we look at how much Justin Fields improved last year. And then now you have a Bears team that put a lot of talent around him. He's got actual people to throw the ball to. You know, they got DJ Moore in that trade with the Panthers. The offensive line is much better. They drafted Darnell Wright. The defense is pretty good. I just think that this team could surprise some people. I don't think they're going to win the division, but I totally could see them getting a wild card. So I'm going to go Chicago and New York.
Justin Fields has 25 starts this season. 25 starts in his career, excuse me. Of those 25, how many games do you think he has over 300 yards passing?
I think it's 0, isn't it?
That is correct. Yeah. Of those 25 starts, how many do you think are over 200 yards passing? Which is...
I do not know the answer to that one. I'll say 4.
6.
Well, what are his yards rushing? What are his touchdowns rushing?
He's a quarterback.
Let's do total yards, Brinson.
What's that?
I said let's do
he's
total yards. Hey, you want to play that game? How many 300-yard games did Aaron Rodgers have last season?
0.
Yeah. So, I mean...
Hey, did the Packers make the playoffs? No.
Yeah, they didn't. So,
what to tell you.
But we're sitting here picking an Aaron Rodgers team to go to the playoffs. And you're not concerned about
the same argument we made about Lamar Jackson.
Oh, I'm concerned about him if you threw another team in there. I mean, but I said I'm in on the Falcons. You did it the correct way. You said the Jets are in. I'll pick between the Falcons and the Bears. I said the Falcons are in. I'll pick between the Jets and the Bears. That made it a lot easier to toss Chicago's head. I do think Chicago is going to be an improved team. Again, I talk about the Panthers and how they picked first overall, but they were really the 9th pick, and then they traded up. Remember, the Bears were had the first overall pick. They were the worst team in football last year. This is not a team near the middle that was picking 9th. They were the worst team in football. And I think anyway, the Bears could take a step forward, but I think the Bears could also take a step forward without making some massive improvement. Yeah, as Billy points out, they have Chase Claypool. Great pick. That was great.
Your favorite. I like the Bears.
Brinson,
I think
the
NFC North is.
Who had the number 1 overall pick last year?
Yeah.
I mean, I should. Was it the? Who was it? Wait, where am I drawing? Why did you just blank?
I still Brinson.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, who had the number 1 overall pick? Why am I blanking on
Jacksonville?
Oh, right.
And what did they do? They won the division, went to the playoffs. So there's no, it doesn't mean it can't be done.
Right. But like, yeah, obviously it was Trayvon Walker. God, that feels like 42 years ago. Sorry. Yeah, when I was born. That is true, Breech, but they had Urban Meyer the year before that. So if the Bears had Urban Meyer, I would say the Bears are primed to take a step forward. Good Lord. What a draw a blank on who had the number 1 overall pick.
Blank.
All right, what's up next?
In the chat said, where's Musso when you need him? Yeah, Musso should be here to defend.
If you say Musso's name 3 times, if you say the Bears suck, the Bears suck, the Bears suck, Musso magically appears.
He's in Vegas right now, actually, doing some promos for the Super Bowl. Yeah, that they're doing because it's a CBS Super Bowl, so there's a lot.
Was he out in? He was up in New York for the.
Yeah, Musso's all over the place. First of all, he was in New York. He's doing stuff with golf. He's in Vegas right now doing promos for the Super Bowl, and then he's going on his honeymoon in Italy. So we're not going to see a lot of.
By the way, speaking of the PGA Championship, kind of crazy. So South Florida. Our research team did a great job with this. They always do fantastic work, but like South Florida would be the first metropolitan area to have a NHL and NBA champion if the Florida
Ooh.
Panthers and the Miami Heat both win. Now, obviously, the Heat have to close out the Celtics, and the Panthers have to win.
Which they're going to.
Yeah, probably, yeah. And they have to win the cup. But of note, too, South Florida had 2 teams in the Final Four back in April. And Brooks Koepka is a South Florida guy who just won the PGA Championship. Like, what a run for South Florida. What a bunch of deserving, quasi-interested fans they have down there.
Very deserving quasi. That is actually pretty crazy when you put them all together like that. But
don't buy it, Katie. That's bitter Brinson trying to compliment people because his team got eliminated.
That is what that was.
But but okay, fine. But to be fair, I want the Heat. I think the Heat close out the Celtics tonight for sure. They're 8-point dogs, which why would you ever give the Celtics 8 points when you look at how they've performed in these playoffs? But don't get me talking about the NBA. We are going to take a quick break here. You're watching Pick Six. We'll be right back.
Absolutely magisterial here.
Welcome back to the Pick Six Podcast. Today is our Pick a Pair show. Make sure you keep it locked with us all week long for all of your NFL offseason news. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe on the YouTube page. All right, our next grouping, the Cleveland Browns, the Denver Broncos, and the Jimmy Garoppolo's, the Las Vegas Raiders.
Ugh.
Oh no, I can already tell you don't like the Raiders. Brinson?
No, it's not so much I don't like the Raiders. It's that I've sort of taken this stance against the Browns, and I'm kind of leaning into it and going to war with the city of Cleveland.
Good luck.
Browns fans have I'm the type of person where if you attack me, I'm not going to cave and allow you. And I'm speaking specifically to a fan base, but I mean, this can happen with like people in general too. I'm a very stubborn human being.
Well, Brinson, let me just say in your defense that usually when you're being stubborn, it's because you don't make any sense and people are like, you have nothing to back this up. But in this case, Brinson is the one making the very reasonable argument and explaining why the Browns probably won't be good. And Browns fans are like, no, Brinson, we don't care about the past 30 years or the fact that we've had more losing seasons over the past decade than the Steelers, Ravens, and Bengals combined. We're winning it all this year. So Brinson is just trying to give them a realistic point of view of their season. They're not buying it.
The phrase that I've been throwing out there that I've enjoyed, a three-toed sloth can count on one foot how many times the Browns have had a winning season since 1999. So and that's 3 guys. The Browns fans came at me. I went on with our buddy Ken Carmen, our pals Ken Carmen and Anthony Lima on 92.3 The Fan. It was actually hyped up to be like a all-out war. Where and like Ken is a passionate guy, he's listened to the podcast, awesome dude, has been on the podcast, and at the end it ended up being a good discussion. My point is just people are so mad about 7-10 for the Browns. I mean, that's just not that crazy. Also, when you start making these predictions and projections about NFL teams before the season, 7-10 is not that far off from 10-7. Does it feel far apart? Of course, because 7-10 is missing the playoffs. People get fired. 10-7 is contract extensions and postseason. There's a gulf in terms of how it's perceived, but in terms of the actual how you get to those two different results, 7-10 and 10-7 are not that different. I mean, you're talking
especially
3 bounces, as Kevin Costner likes to say in 10 Cup, a gust from the gods cost me. That's all you need is a gust of wind to blow a field goal to the right, a fumble that the other team recovers. The ball bounces straight out of the back of the end zone instead of going right, and it's the other team's ball. There's just, football is a weird game played with an inflatable pig butt that's oblong shaped. Okay. So when the ball bounces in funky ways, we shouldn't be surprised. And 7-10 is not a miserable season, Browns fans. That being said,
you digress.
all of that bizarre rant aside, obviously I'm going to take the Broncos because 1, you have Sean Payton.
Yep.
And that was the end of it. 2, That's the end of it. Sean Payton. I'm also going to take the Browns because I want Cleveland fans to leave me alone, and I'll let you defend your Raiders, Katie.
You want me to defend that? Well, first of all, yes, the Raiders, Jimmy Garoppolo, and he's in Mike McDaniel's system, which he knows very well. They've gotten him some other weapons there. I think that the Raiders and Jimmy Garoppolo are going to surprise a lot of people if he could stay healthy. So I will definitely go Raiders, and I will go Broncos as well. Like you said, Sean Payton. And I do think we're going to see a little bit better from Russell Wilson this year. They've kind of beefed up the O-line there. Obviously, they spent all that money on Mike McGlinchey. So I will go Broncos after that absolute misery of a season they had last year. And, the Browns fans and I don't necessarily get along either. So
Breech, your Broncos, you picked to win the Super Bowl last year. Whoopsie. Plus 175. Pretty good value to make the playoffs.
Absolutely. Well, first, I love that Katie mentioned if Jimmy Garoppolo can stay healthy, mentioning it literally 2 hours after we find out that Jimmy Garoppolo had foot surgery and will not be taking part in OTAs and probably won't be on the field till training camp. So not only, it's not can he stay healthy, it's can he even get healthy? He has to get healthy before he can stay healthy. And this is just for me a process of elimination, and the Raiders are just the one team I'm throwing off this list. I don't think there's any way the Broncos and Raiders could both make the playoffs out of the AFC West. Maybe one of them, and obviously I have to pick one of them here. And I just feel like they made a lateral move at quarterback. They went 6-11 with Derek Carr. Garoppolo, yes, maybe a step up because you have Josh McDaniels, but you're not healthy. And even if you are a slight step up, maybe that gets you 1 or 2 more wins and you end up 7-10 or 8-9. I just don't think they can get to the playoffs. Totally agree with Brinson for some reason on the Broncos. I'm back on the Broncos bandwagon. Brinson, you love to rub it in all the time. I picked them to win Super Bowl last year. I'm going to stick my own face in the puddle and probably pick them to go far again because, like you, I do like them. I think Sean Payton's a great addition. If anyone can fix Russell Wilson, it's him. We've talked about that a lot. So, yeah, I'm going to take the Broncos here. And look, the Browns, to me, I know why Cleveland fans are mad.
You're really sticking your own face in the puddle here, Breech.
Well, the in the mud, it's like I'm swirling myself. That's what I'm doing here.
Ew.
But the Browns, look, I understand why Browns fans are upset with you because the team has a stacked roster, but you have an unknown quantity in Deshaun Watson. Like, you literally, look, Browns fans can sit here and say, oh, he's going to be awesome. He's going to return to the form he was in 2020, 3 years ago. Like, that is so long ago that it's been since he's been a good quarterback. You have no idea what he's going to look like on the field. And so, if he plays like he did in those final 6 games last season, the Browns aren't going to the playoffs. They're not winning that division. They're not going to be good. And so that's the thing you have to worry about if you're a fan in Cleveland. I think the Browns are one of those teams, one of the very few teams in the NFL that I could see winning the division or finishing in last place by 4 games. For this exercise, though, I'm going to say they make the playoffs. They're going to be one of my 2 teams here in this group. I'm going to take the Browns and the Broncos. I mean, I could see the Browns winning 11 or 12 games. I could see them going 6-11. I mean, that is just the giant window that the Browns have. But yeah, I'll take them for the playoffs here.
Katie, let's say that Russell Wilson and Jimmy Garoppolo got traded for each other. Just straight up deal. Don't worry about the ramifications of the salary cap space. But Jimmy G's a Bronco. Obviously, we know you will then be picking the Broncos to go to the playoffs. I'm wondering what you would do with the Raiders if they swapped out Jimmy G for Russell Wilson, knowing that, what would that, like, I'm sort of trying to strip away.
Yes.
I'm trying to strip to an objective.
Well, I will say I picked the Broncos as well to make the playoffs. So I already had both of these teams going to the playoffs, but I like this question. Russell Wilson I will say yes to them as well, going to the playoffs for the Las Vegas Raiders, because I have
want to justify it want to justify picking it with Jimmy G.
Well, possibly Brinson. But I just also have to believe that Russell Wilson is better than what we saw last season. I mean, that was absolutely atrocious play for him. Look, I'm a 49ers fan. We went up against Russell Wilson twice a year, every single year. I know how good he can be. And I do think that it was just a dud year for him. And I think he and, Hackett didn't hack it together. And I think that even under Josh McDaniels, he would do a lot better. Thank you. But he would do a lot better. So I think it's going to be a better year for Russell Wilson, whether he's in the Broncos or if we play hypothetical and he goes to the Raiders.
If you guys had to pick bigger upgrade, Nathaniel Hackett, ironically involved with both of these, Nathaniel Hackett to Sean Payton or Zach Wilson to Aaron Rodgers?
Ooh. Zach Wilson to Aaron Rodgers, because Zach Wilson is not good.
Neither is Nathaniel Hackett.
Period.
Yeah,
not
Zach Wilson
much
to Aaron
else to
Rodgers.
say.
Because even if Sean Payton's a great coach, if he can't fix Russell Wilson, or if Russell Wilson's just broken, that it doesn't help your season. Season's done anyway.
Yeah, so, I think it's like it's probably Russ. I mean, probably Aaron. Excuse me, probably Aaron because Zach is that bad. But like we have a baseline for Nathaniel Hackett, and it's what Russell Wilson did. Wow.
Yeah, he's
Josh Jury calling that Russ gets worse this year, and the Broncos own the first round pick next year. That would be
wild.
Would be really interesting if Sean Payton and the Broncos had the first overall pick with Russ's contract that they can sort of kind of get out of, and Caleb Williams sitting there. But that would be very, very interesting.
Wait, guys, so we have some extra time. So I've pulled up a trivia quiz. Right? We like this. A trivia quiz, NFL playoff history. So because I've just pulled this up now, thank you, funtrivia.com. You guys will have to decide on what answer you want together, and we'll go through it, and then we'll read the answers after, okay? Ready? So the Commanders, formerly the Redskins, played in 3 Super Bowls in the 1980s. True or false?
You owe us 50 cents for the swear jar, by the way.
Well, this is what it says. It's called
True.
In 1980s. That was 19. This was their name. So yes. But true or false? You both have to agree because I can only select one thing.
Okay, wait. Sorry, they played in 3 Super Bowls in the 80s.
In the 80s.
True.
Do you agree, Breech?
I mean, yeah, I'm gonna agree with Breech and say true. I am a little worried that one of those was like 91, and we're gonna get banged on that.
All right. So moving on to the next question. We'll get the answers at the end. What team was the first to lose 4 Super Bowls in
the Buffalo Bills?
The Minnesota Vikings.
I didn't listen to the whole question. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Which team
I'm sorry.
First to lose 4 Super Bowls in consecutive seasons?
There we go. We needed the whole question. Brinson was right.
Bills.
Steelers, Bills, Vikings, Cow. Okay, Bills. All right. Jeez. All right.
I thought you were going to say in each decade. What did you think she was saying?
I thought she was going to say just overall.
Oh, okay.
All right. Well, which team won Super Bowl 3? Redskins, 49ers, Cowboys, Jets.
Cowboys.
Super Bowl 3?
Super Bowl 3, Jets?
Yeah, it's Joe Namath game.
Oh, is that Joe Namath game 3? Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right, number 4. The Bears defeated what team in the Fog Bowl in the 1988 season playoffs? Eagles, Patriots, Rams, Niners.
Eagles.
Okay. What team entered the 1987 playoffs with a regular season record of 13-2? Redskins, Niners, Bears, Broncos. 1987. Redskins, Niners, Bears, Broncos.
Oh, is 87 the strike season?
No, 87, the Washington played Denver in the Super Bowl, and that's where Doug Williams lit it up. I don't know who would have been. I mean, the 49ers could have been 13-2.
I mean,
let's say Super Bowl that year.
I think we say Washington.
I'll say, yeah, that's fine.
We can say Niners. I don't care.
What would you say, just so we know?
I mean, Washington or Denver.
Okay. All right. Well, we're selecting Washington, but Denver is.
We're actually putting these in a quiz. I see.
Yes.
The chat says Niners, which concerns me.
It's happening.
Oh no! It could be the Niners.
Could be the Niners. All right. What team shut out the Cowboys in the second round in 1985? Was it the Rams, the Redskins, the Bears, or the Niners? A lot of Niners in here.
Bears. Yeah.
All right, number 7, the Redskins. Oh God, they just keep having me say this word. The Redskins or the 49ers.
$42.
Appeared in the NFC Championship game every year from 1981 to 1994 season. I mean,
wait, what's the question?
Oh, sorry. The Redskins or the 49ers appeared in the NFC Championship game every year from 1981 to 1994.
Is that a fact or true or false?
True or false?
Oh,
true or false? Sorry, I read that.
I'm gonna say false because the Bears in 80. I don't know. It seems too easy to be true. I'll say false.
I feel like Breech wants.
What do you mean? It seems too easy to be true. False seems like the one you would guess because that's a 14 straight seasons.
Wait. It was. Wait, what are the years?
1981
Okay,
to
I read this
1994.
wrong. Let me read it one more time. The Redskins or the 49ers appeared in the NFC championship game every year from 1981. So it's either the
From
Redskins
what years?
or the
I think
Niners
I said
over
like
that
3
14-year span.
years. It's 13 years.
81 to 1994.
Yes.
I think I think that's true because false is so obvious.
Yeah, we'll go true.
Yeah,
right, we'll go true. Sorry, I really botched that one.
No, that's
Okay,
fine.
number 8. The Raiders played in 5 consecutive AFC championship games in the 1970s. True or false?
I think that's true.
True.
But I'm only like 85% sure.
It's
Okay,
mad.
well, that's
Yeah.
the majority. Okay. How many times did the Rams appear in the NFC championship game between 1970 and 1990? Was it 9, 0, 7, or 3?
It's either 0 or 3, right?
No, they were good.
20-year span.
I think it's 3 or
7 or
7
9. Yeah, 3 or 7 is fine.
because they went to the Super Bowl against the Steelers.
Well, is
Yeah.
it 3 or 7? What are we?
Let's say
deciding
3.
Ah,
7's a ton, dude.
on? Okay.
fine, we'll say
Who?
3.
You think 3? I guess it's 20-year span. 7 in 20 years is a lot.
Okay, this one is a.
They won like 6 straight division titles in the 70s.
Would you want to say 7?
No,
Are we already too far past?
did you already put our
Do
answer in?
we could change to 7. You want to change to 7?
No, we'll go 3.
Okay. All right. Who was the Super Bowl MVP in Roman numerals? Super Bowl 26.
That Phil Simms.
It was 2 words.
No, it was Bills, and I know I have to go off my Bengals Super Bowls. 24 was Broncos 49ers. 25 was Bills Giants. 26 was Bills Washington.
Yes.
It was Bills Washington. Then it was
And Washington won by a lot.
is that Mark Rippon?
It was a quarterback for the Redskins for Washington.
It'd be Mark. It's Mark Rippon, right? Is that what year is that? Is that 91?
Super Bowl 26.
Yeah, I think that is.
Yeah, that's Mark Rippon. That's Mark Rippon.
Mark Rippon. Okay, let's write that in. Okay. Submit my answers.
Oh boy.
You've got
Okay. Number 1, 3 Super Bowls in the 1980s. The Washington team, that was true. You guys got that correct. Congratulations. All right. Which
Job,
team
Brinson.
was the first to lose 4 Super Bowls in consecutive seasons? You were correct. It was the Bills. They came close against the Giants in 1991, but lost 20-19. Then they lost the next 3 Super Bowls.
And this is basically like, I don't know how, I mean, I don't know if y'all remember this or not, but like at one point during this, I don't know if it was CBS or NBC was doing the Super Bowl, but Fox decided to run a concurrent Super Bowl halftime show up against the actual Super Bowl halftime show featuring back then it was Jim Carrey and the Wayans brothers on In Living Color. And there was a Fire Marshal Bill skit. Like, do you know how insane that is? Fox was like, F it. We're doing In Living Color at halftime of the Super Bowl, even though we don't have the Super Bowl. They would get electrocuted right now if they tried to do that instead.
Literally
Well,
electrocuted.
Fun fact, Brinson, that is what paved the way for superstar artists to be the NFL's halftime show. Is they said, hey, look, we need to get someone in here so that people don't turn away.
We watched Fox. I was like, no, we're watching
the
the
year
Fox show.
after the In Living Color Super Bowl, Michael Jackson was the Super Bowl halftime show.
There we go. Great fun fact. Let's see bonus trivia from the Trivia
Yes,
Masters.
Sam
All right,
in
what's
the chat
next?
says depressing quiz for me and any other Bills fans. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Sorry about it. Okay, so which team won Super Bowl 3? Your answer was the Jets. You were correct. 1969 was the first by any AFL team. Okay, y'all are perfect on this so far. Okay, number 4, the Bears defeated what team in the Fog Bowl in the 1988
We said
season
Eagles?
playoffs? It was the Eagles. Correct
Boom.
again. Eagles lost 20-12. Hey. All right, I had to get that. Oh no, we finally got one wrong. Okay, what team entered the 1987 playoffs with a regular
the
season
Niners?
record of 13-2? Yes, it was the San Francisco 49ers, not the Washington team, which I will not say again.
Yeah, you're down
Oh.
$75.
I know. We're hitting a skid here, guys. Okay, what team shut out the Cowboys in the second round in 1985? Y'all said the Bears. It was the Rams. The next appearance by Dallas was
Which
7 years later.
Indicates to me we may miss this Rams one as well.
Okay, so number 7, the Washington or the 49ers appeared in the NFC Championship game every year from 81 to 94. Y'all said true, and the correct answer was false. almost at least one of the two teams played in a game from 1981 to 1994, except 1985 when the Bears defeated the Rams.
Oh, come on. That Bears-Rams game is just the Bears-Cowboys game is just a linchpin to destroy us in this trivia contest, because now we're going to miss the Rams thing too.
All right, so we're back on track here, though. Number 8, the Raiders played in 5 consecutive AFC Championship games in the 1970s. True, correct. They only won the game once, despite being there through 1973 through 1977. Oh, we're getting good again, guys. All right, number 9. How many times did the Rams appear in the NFC Championship game from the 1970 to 1990? You said 7. That is correct. They only made it to the Super Bowl once in that time frame, though. It was in 1980 as the LA Rams. And then you were correct again for the MVP. It was Mark Rippon. So we 7 out of 10 here. 7 out of 10. Not bad.
70%. That'll get you graduated. All right.
That'll get you graduated. That will get you graduated. All right, guys. Well, that is going to wrap up our show. Thank you for rocking with us today. We've got a mailbag episode coming up on Monday. So if you got your questions in, they will likely be answered on the show. We are back next week at 1 p.m. with more off-season coverage. Have a happy Memorial Day weekend. Stay safe out there, guys. And remember to like, comment, and subscribe on the YouTube page. And if you're listening to audio only, do the same. We'll see you next week.